All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. We're waiting for some agendas, but we'll get those in a minute. We're going to open with a pledge of allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. So please rise for the pledge. Wow, we do not have room tonight. I don't have a table.
No, the tables.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing as we consider those who have gone before us. Thank you. Hey, extra agendas up here at the table. If you haven't gotten one, please feel free to come up and grab one anytime during the meeting. Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call. Trustee O'Malley?
Here.
Trustee Patton?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Ryan?
Here.
Mayor Allen?
Here.
Trustee Bushner?
Here.
Trustee Pine? Here. And Trustee Lewis? And Attorney Gilchrist?
Also present, Attorney
Gilchrist.
Dave Engel. And also
Dave Engel.
from Dave Engel's firm of Nolan and Heather is Attorney Rich Berger.
Thank you.
Sporting the bow tie, but you're bringing the fez next time. All right. For the 5 people who get that joke. Okay. A couple things before we start, and I always forget to mention this, but as regular, we record our meetings audio-wise, and if you get to the portion later and the people to be heard, when you stand to speak, please share your name and address when you do that. The agenda is there's a couple additions to the agenda since the one I put online yesterday is the draft agenda, so if you're using the one that was online, this one's a little bit more recent, so you may want to grab it. I have 2 correspondences. The first is from the Hoosick Falls Central School. They are holding a workshop regarding the proposed 2019 capital renovation project. This meeting will be held Wednesday, that's tomorrow the 9th, at 6 p.m. in the high school library. The renovation project will improve safety, make the school more energy efficient. I don't think the children can be more energy efficient.
What, are you going to put them on hamster wheels?
Bring technology up to date and create a better learning environment for our children. Public input on this initiative is extremely important and encouraged. Please come and be part of the future of our school, and that's from the Board of Education. So I want to pass that on. I will be there tomorrow night in attendance. The other quick announcement is we are in need of zoning board members. The Zoning Board of Appeals is an important appointed government board that hears zoning appeals and variance requests. I think we have 2 right now, so we need another one because we have a couple zoning issues that will be coming up.
Also, if anyone's interested in planning,
we also need people for the planning board.
America, is there eligibility for those that is village resident age 18 or older, correct? Is that it? Correct.
Yes, correct. I just consulted my crystal ball. All right. I have a few updates. I'm pretty much going to read them for the most part as is, and I'll take questions during or after. In terms of the Woodsbrook buyout program, the environmental site assessment services have been finalized, and those awards will be going out. They haven't gone out already. I can't remember if I did that yet, today or not. They've already been working on assessments and surveys, so this is the final piece of the information gathering before we can have all the information and start talking.
They pertain only to the ones on...
Only to the targeted ones. Okay. Yes. In terms of the Snow Street grant, the original grant is completed. We're trying to get the pump station purchased with the remaining funds of the grants, and to supplement that with our own budgeted funds. The village is continuing to work with MRB, who's the engineering firm involved in DASNY, to get final approval to move on the lowest bid to the ad alternate, which is the new pump station. The board has already approved this purchase, so we have nothing to do with this. It's just we're still waiting on DASNY. And I don't think that they have really been responsive at all the past couple weeks, so I get to start bothering them tomorrow. In terms of the sewer project, the bid results for the pipeline portion of the sewer project are in. You have that. It looks like either this or this. We gave you that packet. We'll go over these more in detail later tonight. The basic good news is that it did come in a little bit lower than they were hoping for and expected. I also received an email from Rich of MRB today saying that they checked into resumes and they are very comfortable with the lowest bidder. They haven't done as many pipeline jobs. They've done a few, 3 or 4. They have one massive one, which I want to say is like thousands of feet of piping, as opposed to ours, which is not quite as long.
Yeah, didn't we
they're
have Carver
working on.
Construction here before? Wasn't there a lot of issues with that company too, about how they put things back together?
That wasn't the lowest bid, but I know that Denise had mentioned that there were a lot of add alternate. No, it wasn't add alternate. Were the add-ons or there were
Yeah, the
add-ons?
costs kept changing and changing and changing.
They kept
correct?
changing, but
Yeah.
the lowest bid was Peter Luisi and Brothers on the bottom of the front page.
In the middle.
Yeah, well, the bottom of the entered ones. And if you go to that second page where all the sort of the whole project is listed out, that number of 2.68 was sort of like the goal number to break even with where we had previously. So by coming under that, so far, we made the right decision to go back, rebid it, and split it into two. We'll see how the next one comes back. The one thing, going back to my updates, is the DEC's review engineers discovered the need for a permit that we did not know we needed that would require both the state and the Army Corps of Engineers. MRB and the village have put this together and submitted it, but because of the need for the permits, MRB and our attorney Andy Gilchrist are recommending that we do not award this tonight, but we wait until the February meeting to award the bid. That'll give us more time, and I know there's another couple emails that went by today. The state is basically all good on this. They're now waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers, who at this point hasn't responded to anything yet, so that's another tree I get to shake.
What is the permit in relation to? Is it the
It's in relation to the
brickbat,
levy
the levee,
and some
the
of the
grass part, or the other side?
It's close to the Pump Street area, so you're talking basically down past the laundromat. There's it happens to be involved with where the directional drilling is going to be going under the road, in relation to some of the I forget what kind of wells those are there.
Right, it came up because of the levee, the flood improvement structure,
Yeah.
and the directional drilling in close proximity. It's within a certain distance requiring a permit.
Neil, do you remember what those wells are that came up?
Relief valves.
Relief
Oh,
valves.
those where they bring them into the chamber, the large.
Well,
Well, yeah.
it's a little more complicated.
I'm simplifying.
I like the simple version.
The things with the padlocks.
And one more thing, the village, after a conference call with EFC and MRB, will be submitting, actually, we just submitted it this evening, and the mail goes out tomorrow, will be submitted a request to extend the deadline to close on the 0% financing loan and grant agreement. The original deadline was April 15th, just because of the second bid timing. And awarding the bid, we want to make sure we had enough time, and EFC was good with that, and MRB was good with that. So we've asked to extend the deadline to June 30th. EFC's basically said that's fine, just do it, and then we'll get the official approval back to you. So that went out today in email and tomorrow in regular mail. Any questions on sewer project related? Okay. In terms of unsafe structures, we've been pursuing 3. The first structure was the one that was destroyed by a fire last winter on Waldron Avenue, and that has been successfully demolished. We would like to thank the family that was involved, specifically Shelley Roberson and Stephanie Waldron. They have done a large amount of work to make that demolition happen, so that we didn't have to take on the costs. They took care of it, and it was like living through another tragedy. They lost the house and they had to go through this for so long, and it was quite a saga. So thank you for them doing that. We have 2 unsafe structures remaining. One's located at 6 Spring Street, and the other one is 22 John Street. Those were approved at our last meeting. So we do have one thing added to do with that tonight, and Mark will bring that up in his report. The village has worked with the owner of 22 John Street to have the private owner complete demolition in a timely manner, but the owner has not completed the demolition, even with extended time given. So the village is prepared to move forward with both unsafe structure demolitions. We approved the demo bids last meeting, but Mark is going to bring up something related to, is it air? Air.
Because these are asbestos projects, we're required to have air monitoring
Okay. In fact, is that it right there?
and Department of Labor variance.
You can pass this around.
We
while
have
we-
it.
They have
Oh, you have
Yeah,
it?
we have it. Yeah, we
Awesome.
have it.
Thank you. So when we can either discuss it now, or we can go and wait until Mark's report. Doesn't bother me either way. All right, let's get it over with. Mark, can you quickly summarize for us the three bids we received?
Looking them over, one of them didn't have nearly the information the other 2 did. And the other 2, when you do a comparison, cause the prices are broken up a little differently, they come out to be $10 a part.
Okay.
Which is, Spectrum and
Ambient.
Ambient?
Yeah.
Ambient.
they literally are $10 a part.
Is this for both buildings or is this per building?
This is both.
For the,
Spectrum is anyway.
Mark, have you worked with one of these
Yeah,
before?
it's both.
we worked with Spectrum before.
And so
Okay.
does the other one.
And like I kinda put in the email today to you guys, is the big surprise with the whole thing was the per day cost. Because the American House came down, it took a lot longer to bring the American House down than anticipated. So it went from like a, estimated $5,000 bill to about a $15,000 bill. So that is, so what I did is I just did a comparison, thinking about Spring Street as maybe like a 3-day project. And compared the pricing that way, and they came to within, they were about 44.75 and 44.65.
Do you remember which one was which?
The Spectrum was $10 cheaper.
Okay. What's your recommendation for which one you would like to see us award the bid
$10,
to?
I did get the ambient came highly recommended. And Dan's hauling is good with them, they worked together before.
Okay. Andy, we can basically just take a motion to award the bid to one of them.
We can, we'll note for the record that these are specialized services, so it would have been exempt from public bidding, but the dollar amount is below. Mark's complied with the village procurement policy and gotten through the written quotes.
All
So
right.
you can move forward and award.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Notion.
What is your motion?
I motion we adjourn.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
This is the one you
Motion to
recommended.
accept the bid from Spectrum
No.
Environmental.
No.
Nope.
No, the other way around.
No.
Mark
Ambient.
recommended
You want
ambient.
ambient?
Ambient.
Someone else can do this, I'm good. A motion to accept the bid from Ambient Environmental for the asbestos air quality monitoring for the demolition of unsafe structures within the village of Hoosick Falls.
That was
How'd I do?
solid. That was
That
solid.
was first.
Very
All right,
thorough.
need a second? Or we already have a second, all right. Any
Vanessa.
further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
When
motion
do
carries.
will they start in the spring probably, or?
Thank you.
Well, they're going to get started as soon as they can, but it's gonna depend on the Department of Labor and getting the variance.
Okay.
Mark, real quick on that too, with Spring Street being right along Woods Brook, the building, the structure almost borders the stream. Is there
does.
any issue with DEC in regards to Woods Brook that you also may have
I
to?
did reach out to DEC.
Yeah.
They called me back and they were gonna have somebody more local, get in touch with me, but I never heard from another person.
Okay, and is there any concern of it during demolition of obstructing the brook in that area?
The plan is to actually drive down from, up above
Mm-hmm.
to gain access to the property and be going.
And pull the other way? Okay.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
I will follow up with DEC because we don't want any surprises. We wanna make sure that anything they want there, they may want some kind of screening or something
Right.
over the brook so that nothing falls into it.
All right, thank you, Mark. All right, anything else about, questions on unsafe structures? All right, moving on to the stack testing. That was, set to be happening at the McCaffrey Street plant. DEC and EPA's ORD, that's Office of Research and Development, has been working together for the past several months to perform stack tests at the McCaffrey Street location. Specifically, special instrument would be brought in, I think it's a real-time mass spectrometer, to get real-time qualitative measurements of PFAS and PFAS-type compounds that are going to be coming from the stacks. The original plan had been to perform this test on January 21st on site at the McCaffrey Street location. However, due to our federal government shutdown and the fact that many agencies, including EPA, have not received additional funding to stay open, we will not have confirmation that that date is still solid and won't know until the federal government, or specifically EPA, opens back up. So at this point, the longer the shutdown looms, the less likely we are to hit that target date. Can't wait to watch that on TV tonight. Any other questions on that? Yes, Lorraine.
Do DEC had repeatedly said they were going to give Hoosick Falls a community presentation in the fall. Any worry?
Related to, because there's a lot of things they want to present on. There's
That's what they said.
Do you remember what they wanted to present on? Because there's a lot they're going to be presenting on in the coming months. Because a lot of things are going to be coming together. The alternate water supply study will be finished up in around April. Hopefully around that time they'll have some blood test results in a sort of a group setting for round 2. Depending on when this happens and how long the data takes, there may be some other things regarding the investigations at the various sites that could be coming forward. And additionally, when the CAG, no, it's not the CAG, what are they calling it?
Well, that was my second question, so you can follow up on that one too.
Yeah, I've been trying to find a time to meet with DEC and some of the higher ups to iron that out. I just have not had time in the past month. Also been sick for most of the past month. But I'll know more about that soon. It's the best I have right now. All right, and finally about the biomonitoring, the blood testing update. Requests for new tests have dropped off. Anyone who didn't complete their test orders, which were the ones that they said expired in 2018, are automatically getting sent new orders, which will have an expiration date at the end of March.
Mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have mine too.
How much is yours now?
What's that?
How much is yours go down?
No, I haven't done it yet.
No, I got they never called me back for an appointment, and then it came in the mail that I had
Okay.
a new order, so.
We haven't gotten our test check yet, but I'm going to shortly.
A lot of people went down, like over 60%, most people like it.
Yeah, the strong majority have gone down exactly pretty much what they expected. And the half-life has ended up to be about 3.5 years, I want to say, on average. The vast majority have gone down as expected. There were a couple individuals, I don't know the number because it's too small of a number, who either stayed the same or went up a slight bit. A couple of those were just because they were already like the background national average number, so like going up from 3.2 to 3.3, okay. But there were one or two that I've been asking about, and again, I don't know the specific situations, but there are higher numbers that have stayed or gone up, and one of the questions is, why is that happening for those individuals? And they've reached out to those individuals, they're setting up a second blood test for those individuals, and they're going to do a little bit more digging to find out why those cases haven't had changes or have been increasing.
Do we know if they're like living in the same general location or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know the number. I know when it's a group that's smaller than like say 10, they don't share the number.
I'm just curious if they're all in one on one road.
Yeah, I'm
they're,
very curious too because I'm wondering why there's a couple people who either haven't changed, who haven't gone down or have gone up a slight bit.
Or occupational.
I'm guessing it's occupational mainly.
Okay.
Which again would be interesting because apparently occupationally they haven't been using this stuff in 50
Although there
years.
are some people that work at Taconic that live in the village, which that could account for some of those too.
Yep.
Because they were still using it and are still using it.
Yep.
I believe. Right?
Are they still using PFOA?
Taconic.
It's switched? I don't know.
But it still comes out of the stack.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yep. So any questions on any updates? All right. On the people to be heard section, just as a reminder, you state your name and address. Can I have a just general idea of who would like to speak? Okay.
Yeah, I missed that.
Well,
seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no idea.
Sorry, Marion did email, but it's the same question as always. So.
All right.
So go ahead and answer it.
Reverse
911.
911.
We're on it. We're working on it. Okay. All right. In that case, let's move on to reports. Report packet. A few reports aren't here just because of some like a vacation or people being sick or crazy times. Ben, you want to take treasurer's report?
Yeah, summary of the past month, completing a state annual report, completed compiling and invoicing water, sewer, and solid waste, assisting the move forward of the Rensselaer Street Pump Station, which is part of the Snow Street project, and the highway garage, compiling bills and vouchers, doing drawdown requests with Gasney. They're also trying to get the renewal amounts for the health insurance that renews on February 1st. And no big changes are expected. Depending on the cost of the demolition, which we talked about already, may need to look into the possibility of doing a short-term 5-year ban. When it's complete, we'll be able to pay it off in 2 years or less because if the owner does not pay for the cost of the project, the bill will then be re-levied onto the village property tax.
So, and that's been the plan from the beginning.
Yep.
Any questions? Looking for a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Thank you, Craig. Second?
Okay.
Thank you, Bobby. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Police report. Chief
The month
Ash
of December.
has been so busy this past month. Oh my goodness.
Total calls for December were 110. Total calls for November were 105. Total calls for the year was 1,289 compared to 2017, which were 1,450. Total arrests for December were 6. Total arrests for November were 16. Total arrests for the year were 163 compared to 2017, which were 136.
Wow.
Service calls were from domestics, which were 17. Code enforcement 2. EMS 26. Sex registry was 1. Animal complaints 4. Fraud complaints were 1. Alarms to include fire calls 9. Noise complaints were 2. Traffic were 4. Citizen assists were 6. Property damage auto accidents have increased. Doesn't seem like a lot, but 5 is a lot for us. Calls outside the village were 6. Suspicious persons were 3. And this is important to note that one of these calls that came in helped us with a burglary investigation. So
Yeah.
I always encourage people, no matter how small it might be or how large it might be or what you may not think is important, by placing the call to us and letting us go check it out, it does turn into some valuable information. Civil cases were 2. The burglary investigations were 5. Trespassing was 1. An open door was 1. Lost found property was 2. Check the welfare was 3. Warrant investigations were 1. Harassments were 1. Investigations were 7. And use of annoying was 1. The arrests for the month were, traffic arrests were 4. Resistant arrests, obstruction, disorderly conduct was 1. And the burglary arrest was 1.
That's a thing.
We had the tree lighting in the park with Santa, which went great. The snow was perfect. I want to take a time to thank John Bombard, the police, along with the man of Kent. We provided a Christmas dinner for a needy family. Department also provided gifts to help make the Christmas a little bit more nicer. In reference to our burglary investigations, one of them, which was, both of them were very, very involved, but this one in particular, there was a number of guns that were stolen. We tracked those guns down into Vermont. We located the guns, we retrieved the guns, we retrieved all the property that was stolen in the burglary. And an arrest was made on New Year's Day. In the city of Troy, they picked up the subject. I went down, picked them up, brought them up here, and we were able to close out that case. The second burglary investigation was one that went much quicker, and that was one that took a little initiative and people calling in on suspicious activity, so that also was another arrest. And the department there, the guys in the department worked really hard on it, and they did an outstanding job. And just a note, because you're probably gonna catch some press on this, is that the trial started yesterday, in a serious case that we're working on in county court. It looks like it's gonna be an all-week trial. I was there all day, most of the day yesterday, all day today. It's going well, and I hope to have an end result of this in a positive manner, hopefully by the end of the week. After that, that's it.
Bob, thanks for that post on Facebook last night regarding the comment section of the page.
We're gonna be, we put them out, and I know sometimes it's hard to, the comments that are coming in, but believe it or not, comments that are made there do come back, and they kinda help build something with the case, but we're monitoring much more closely, and as soon as they're coming up, we're gonna be starting to take them down. We're not gonna be leaving them out there as long as they get left out there.
They made a post last night, I think it was, that to be civil and to be kind and courteous on their post. Whether it makes a difference or not, probably not, but.
Well,
At least try.
some of those we do take and we call directly and speak to people, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't.
I mean, Kevin, you brought it up a little bit before the meeting was speaking to Andy too, though, about we probably should be very clear on what we can and cannot remove and post, or remove post, or even if that's a platform which we is the value outweighing the harm or negativity? And I think it's something we probably should get into more discussion on and have more official policy on. And or, I mean, this is a pretty comprehensive report. Maybe this is sufficient versus some other, but I think it's something, Andy has some things to research on, correct? To get
Correct.
some answers on where we go.
The Albany Police, have got some, data on that.
Good, thank you.
It's something that, we've been talking to them about it as well. So we may be changing policy within a very short
Okay.
period of time, depending on what Andy comes back and says to me, as well as
Okay.
with what I've gathered from Albany.
All right. Any other questions?
It's nice to see, Chief, that the percentage of arrests into calls has gone up 3% over last year. If you look at the number of arrests that we made and the number of calls that you took, it's a little over 9% in 17, but it's over almost 13% in 2018. It seems like it's a lot more, like you're doing a lot more with less. You're taking less calls, you're making a lot more arrests. It's a lot.
This year, we noticed the arrests have been a little bit more serious, per se. Our DWI numbers went up, I think, by 2 or 3%. And that was just, we got a little bit more aggressive, on it. And then, as I said, some more serious calls that come in that took a lot of our time immediately that we needed to address. So, not that we were ignoring calls, but not why our call line went down.
Alright.
It just balanced out.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just good to see.
Yeah. Any other questions? Looking for a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Sorry about
Ben and Bobby, all in favor?
that. Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Chief. Code enforcement report. Mark.
Neil just said I can't speak because Bob took all the time.
We're keeping Neil up.
Code enforcement, it's just, we're rolling on, it's just, there's a lot going on. If you ever have any questions on anything, you can ask me. I mean, I threw out some information there. Some of it has changed, but only slightly, but just continue to be busy. I have started communicating a little bit with the fire chief, trying to keep him informed of all the list of vacant houses, so they're aware of that. Something did come up today in a conversation I had, because I'm aware of a few of, like, apartments, not any houses, where there's like a little bit of a hoarding situation that goes on. And the question was, well, do you let the fire department know? And I said, geez, I don't. But maybe that's something that we can consider and talk to Andy about, make sure that that's not a problem, to let the fire department know if we're aware of a hoarding situation, because that would affect how they would respond to a situation should something happen. And one thing I did want to bring up is 12090 zip code is targeted for a Healthy Neighborhoods program. And it's a program, by all accounts that I've heard so far, is very good. They'll come in, they do a little presentation to homeowners and tenants, anybody who's willing to listen. They give away free stuff. One of the things that's coming up is April 1st. We're also supposed to be going to the 10-year sealed smoke detectors. They have a 10-year battery in them, lithium battery. They are giving them away free.
Yeah. And carbon monoxide testing
Carbon
for free as
monoxide,
well.
you can do,
Fire extinguishers,
what's that?
fire extinguishers.
Fire extinguishers. So,
They also do mold tests. They'll test to see if you have mold problems in your house. They can check rooms. It's
lead-based paint, they suspect there might be an issue there. So, it looks like a really good program. I talked to the girl who is administrating it in this area. I know that she's done apartments and she's done single-family homes. I'm actually gonna have her come to my house and I'll get a first-hand experience. So, it's out there. I have the flyer on it.
Could you email that to us, Mark?
I'll scan it, and send it to everybody, and maybe we can get it onto the webpage as well.
one of the
Give
things
a
I want
copy
to do
for
is
Doug?
what's that?
Copy for Doug and Christine as well.
Yeah. One of the things I want to do is actually get a video with her, just explaining what she does, like a simple 3-minute video, because I expected not many people to take her up on it, but she's actually been quite busy with it. But I still think there's a lot of people who don't know the amount of information and free stuff that you can get out of this. We got a carbon monoxide tester added to one of our floors because it was near the kitchen. We're like, hey, we should have something in there. We have one upstairs, one in the basement. So yeah, cleaning supplies as well. And it's not like the junk kind. It's like the good smart kind, and she explains to you how to use it and that sort of thing.
So it looks like a really good program, we are targeting this area, and we should get as many people take advantage as we can.
The ones where if you mix chemicals, you die. Those are the
Thanks,
bad
Mark,
ones.
that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mark, don't go away.
Sorry, Neil.
This regards people that use their front yard for parking, or I call it curb jumping, that you're using their front yard for parking without a curb cut. If you're gonna use your front yard for parking, I don't think you can, because in the zoning laws, you can't use your front yard for parking, but I see it more common these days, especially in rental units where they're just going up on the sidewalk and parking. I've talked to some of Bob's officers and they've chased a few out, but, is that something we can look into? Cause I know there are people using their front yards
I've
without
addressed
a
a couple
curb
of
cut.
situations, some of them are, the winter time, we're trying, you get it, people are trying to get off the road, so their cars aren't, in the way of the plows and stuff like that, so you're right, we have a local law that says that, you're not supposed to park in your front yard.
I mean, in some cases, the curbs are so low that they can just drive over them, but I think they need a special permit, I think, if they're gonna have a driveway on the front of the property anyway with the curb cut.
Yes, I mean, you do have to get authorization, I don't know if it's a special permit. I know I've worked on a couple where we have done it, where there's been room. In Second Ward, we did it, probably was the last one I did, maybe 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where there was room between the two houses, and the sidewalk wasn't an issue, because it was so low, and they put in some crushed stone and made a decent driveway next to the house. And,
The zoning has isn't it the zoning have a percentage of the yard side? There's something in the zoning.
The bulk
there
requirement?
is
Yeah.
now, a lot of this predates that.
I mean, on the new zoning, the zoning
New
update?
zoning, you have to, when you have apartments, you're supposed to have 1.5 parking spaces per.
I'm sorry, in general, for parking for the front lawn, there is some sort of percentage or ratio in there based on how much of the front yard could be converted into parking, if it isn't already. But it wouldn't be, like, what Kevin's saying is just parking there is not part of that. So there's something in there that's specific to this. I don't remember off the top of my head, I haven't memorized
Yeah,
the
I
whole
just know that you're not supposed to,
zoning.
there is something in there about not parking in the front yard.
Yeah,
Well, just where it is happening, it's happening more frequently, that it's not a good look for the village, I think it devalues the look of their property when they're
Yeah,
parking.
I don't disagree with that, I get what some people are doing, but, I mean, we can offer suggestions, we can take a look more at what Brian's talking about and see if there's something we can do. I've always been a proponent of the off-street parking, anywhere we can get it, anything that I've done and fixed up, I've always tried to put in off-street parking, because especially when you're in Second Ward, it's
Cluttered enough as it is.
Well, the thing that really bothers me is some places have their own off-street parking, but they're still using the front yard for parking. And
that's
some
cause
cases-
that's where the car
so
died.
much you can control, Kevin.
I know, but it does make sense, that's all.
But yeah, we have to work with the police department on that too.
The only thing I'm asking is if we are gonna be going out and citing for such, to make sure that we're correct on our zoning and stuff, because it can fall into the junk cars too, that are left on people's property, whether it's on the front lawn or on the side or even in the back. And
Maybe we can review the zoning laws in this and maybe just get some sort of memo or something together saying here are the things that we're.
just encompass junk cars as well as.
Yep.
Because that can become a problem.
Yep.
You can only have one unregistered vehicle on our property.
Correct.
And nothing, you're not supposed to be working on vehicles on the property. So that's international code, you're not supposed to be working on vehicles in the yard.
When they
Oh,
say-
as opposed to a driveway or a garage is fine, but in the yard is not fine.
Well, no, even in the driveway, they're not supposed to be in substantial disrepair.
Like you can't pull an engine in like
Right.
somebody
leave it
was
that way
down,
with their
like down in
Even
Fisk
the
Street,
oil
right,
change.
right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
So So even if some of those cars are parked and they have license plates on them, you can run the plates to make sure that they aren't registered.
It usually
Well,
becomes obvious.
Yes, I say that hesitantly because I wanna make sure that there's a complaint filed for us to, on an audit that I have
two-
to justify.
So if two
as to
abandoned
what-
vehicles were in the same lot, that would be a problem.
Correct.
Most
Huh.
definitely.
It's a code issue.
Yeah,
If one abandoned vehicle is in a lot.
It's abandoned.
okay, it's interesting.
And abandoned is considered unregistered, correct?
Unregistered, no plates on it.
Right.
Or the plates that are on it.
Or the registration's
they
expired.
match to that-
Right,
that
right,
vehicle and that VIN.
right.
Does that include, like construction or maintenance style vehicles?
It would include anything, really, if it's
What is
supposed to be
happening?
registered, it has to be
Why are we
registered.
spiraling into this?
No, I'm just thought of a property that has these.
Okay.
No,
There,
that's
anyway.
fine.
All right, thank
No, I have a
you.
question, Mark.
Yeah.
Another question, Mark. For landlords, if they have a tenant who has a handicap placard, and the tenant approached the landlord, and the landlord said, "Well, you can't put it out in front of the house; it's got to be on the side." So he's making her walk farther than right in front of her house to get to the handicap spot. Kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? He says he's willing to put a handicap spot in, but they do it on the side of the side of the road rather than in front of her house, so she has to walk farther. I mean, she walks with a walker.
Isn't there like a tenant,
I've never dealt with that.
like a tenant bill of rights or something like that? There's a.
There is a tenant bill of rights.
That's not his or her say, that would be the village's say as to where to put that parking, if they're gonna be putting a sign up.
Mark, do you have the tenant? You know the
Right,
tenant bill
because
of
we have
rights or
to
whatever.
we have to approve it, right?
You have to approve
Would that be
sign.
in there?
I agree with Bob, I think it's more of a local village.
So the village can dictate that that's where
You know what, there ought to be something there, if somebody's gonna be a tenant that, you never know how long a tenant's gonna be there. Maybe you can do something on a temporary basis if it's needed.
Yeah. I think have her reach out to the village. Have her reach out to Mark.
I know we've done that in the past, but there's one on, actually Church Street that probably should be taken off because the person, was deceased.
Maybe I'm reading what you said, is that's just between the tenant and the landlord. He just doesn't want it parking in the front, there is no sign or anything of that.
right. There's no sign.
So
He
he's
said,
just being, or
he-
she is being kind of,
well,
whatever word you wanna use.
Yeah.
for the
Lame.
tenant.
yeah,
Which isn't fair, which I think would come under
Right.
landlord's rights.
Yeah.
Tenant
rights.
Rights, which we have some kind of literature on that.
We do.
We've got some in the station.
Yeah.
There's a tenant bill of rights. I just don't know if it's in there.
of course, the next,
We've
then
had it. I know
she'll
I've
get
seen it.
evicted.
You're right.
Do we have that somewhere in the office? The tenant bill of rights? I think we do as well.
Plus if it's a housing
All right.
association.
All right. Yeah. Have whoever it is reach out to the
I will.
village, please. All right. Any more questions for Mark? Looking for motion to improve the code enforcement report.
Second.
Thank you, Craig and Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, Mark.
Carries. Thank you, Mark. Quick community service report from Jerry. 142 hours were completed month of December. Projects include, but are not limited to, weekly cleaning of the town of Hoosick office space, detail of the police cars, leaves in park throughout the village, clean and organize storage room at the water treatment plant, clean and sanitize St. Mary's Academy, pick up debris around the transfer station, and help to winterize the soccer fields. Looking for a motion to approve the community service report.
Second.
Brian and Vanessa, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a couple projects, and one of the things I want to talk to you guys next month about is using some of the money we had budgeted for parks to go in 50-50 with Joe Gaylord and the community band folks to replace the flooring on the gazebo, to upgrade it to, what's the new really good kind?
Tracks.
Tracks.
Decking.
They have a quote from Curtis, so want to follow up on that, and also we got to get community service guys to put some rocks around the outside so when the water drips down it goes the right way instead of into the basement of the gazebo. But we'll talk about that next month. Just want to plant that seed now. Village clerk, deputy clerk report. Do you want to read it?
Sure, the month of December,
I
we
have to
continue to work on the water bills. We've been receiving and entering our payments fast and furious.
Mm-hmm.
We have issued some new handicap parking rules for 2019. We've also been issuing, I didn't write this down, but we have been issuing new permits for, the transfer station for 2019. We've had several death certificates issued, and we've been doing some new home changes. I believe we're up around 6 for the month.
Any questions?
Maureen, how much is the transfer station permit, the same as last year?
Same as last year. For the town, it's, for the village, it's 10, and for the town, it's 20. And we did start issuing those back in November for the full year of 2019, so anyone that came in early, we issued them.
All right. Looking for motion to approve the clerk, deputy clerk report?
Motion.
Second.
Ben, Brian, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Highway department report. Bobby?
Alright, village highway's been busy over the past month, hopefully, list below the project we worked on and plan to do in a couple months. We have come across multiple springs popping up in some streets, which is called, but we're checking on a daily basis.
How does that happen? Is that a frosty thing, or what? Where is that in a specific area of the village, or is it just?
Mainly up in the hills.
Okay, so it's
Oh, primarily up on top
yeah,
of
the runoff, and
Parsons.
then it comes. Okay.
Assist the water department on a number of different tasks, including water main breaks like last night.
How many hours were you guys out for last night?
6.
6 hours.
And then you plowed.
Dealing with water while it was like
Pretty
10
chilly.
degrees. You guys are awesome.
Work with community service and Jerry on other projects, annual pothole patrol, transfer station cleaning, and small storms had to plow or sand.
Oh, there's more.
I know, I'm going. Switching out paperwork for OSHA, gas and diesel fuel, et cetera, from 2018 to 19, clean equipment in shop along with doing service repairs. Finalizing chip report, paperwork for February. Christmas tree pickup starts January 7th.
Can you
That
put
was
on
yesterday?
Facebook,
No.
please?
No.
Until the
January 7th
14th,
already
only till next Monday.
What?
It says,
It's until the
we'll
week.
taking trees in buckets the week of the, we'll be picking up the trees in the buckets on the 14th.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Highway grant, garage grant, plans or finals will be presented by the board tonight. Do we have that, did we run?
All right. What's that? Yeah, sorry.
The plans for the garage.
Yes, we have that. That's an extra thing. That came in like an hour and a half ago. So
Okay, new sewer truck should be here within a couple of weeks, still need to replace the 2005 truck, still babying
baby in. Do you talk to it every morning?
We haven't had to put any money into it yet.
That's good.
Hazardous mitigation for the county, village, Mark and Neil are going to another meeting the 17th for more input on their part. Started looking into parking issues around the village that would improve plowing, along with being able to get emergency vehicles around the village streets. Re-inventorying tools, parts, and other items in the DPW. And a recent check done on my employees for driver license verification for my department. So DMV did that, or you?
We normally do it through the insurance anyways.
Mhm.
Bob and his crew want to eventually, when it comes time to renew insurance policies, so I'm just a couple months ahead of
Okay.
Did the new what's the deal with the new excavator? So I know we approved the purchase of it last meeting.
It went back up to get some more piping put on it, so.
Will we have that in the next month or so? Do we have to wait for DASNY to produce the funds for it?
We'll get it back as soon as they get all the piping for the extra bucket.
Okay. So this is the new excavator. That's awesome. That's the one from the same grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you wanna talk about the list that you made about,
I
no?
don't have it with me.
Alright.
You must have it.
I do have it on my phone, but he came with a list of parking issues we've had with setbacks in certain areas.
Mhm.
He's got quite a list, I think there's, how many, 8? Around 8. Would it be a blanket law that we would do, or they would have to be one at a time, and would there have to be a public hearing?
Right, those kinds of parking restrictions or road issues are subject to a local law, so we can list those out. You can do them all in one local law. But it does need to be introduced, public hearing, and done through local law. So if you forward that to me, we can get to work on that.
Thank you for doing that, man.
It almost seems like we need to sit down and have a meeting and talk about the parking issues, so that we can get a local law figured out and whatever direction we need to the police, so they have clarity on what they should do with it.
Yeah, there's a number of issues that come into play there with tenants, things like that.
Okay. Kevin, can you email us later this week about setting that up?
Sure.
That'd be good.
I'll make a motion, we accept, the highway report.
Thank you, Bobby.
Second,
I think that was Craig, even though you were louder and have just a much deeper radio voice.
that's okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, thank
I'll
you.
do the sewer report.
No sewer report right now.
No
County is on vacation, I think, this week.
Motion.
And we need a motion because there's no report.
I wanted to give them-
Sorry. No water report, but I just tell you they've been busy with well 3 going on and then coming off and working with the state, preparing for the carbon change out, doing the carbon change out, which is going on right now, and a broken service line last night. So they've been busy as well. All right, that concludes our report section.
Do we need a motion to do accept the water report, because you kinda gave one?
Sure.
Second.
Bobby and Ben, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, thank you. I am so painfully behind on the minutes approval, it's totally my bad, so in the next week or two, I'm gonna try to punch a couple out each week to get it done to you, so that's my bad. We're down a bunch, and it's basically, she gets them ready, and they sit there, and when I have a free moment, I get to them, and I just have not had any free moments yet, so my apologies on that. Trustee committee reports, who would like to start? Vanessa, do you have one? Craig? Brian?
2 quick things, of course.
Fire away.
Lucky you. LWRP is having their last public workshop, that is the local waterfront revitalization plan. It'll be Tuesday, January 22nd, here at the municipal building. I forgot to put that on the calendar. Tuesday the 22nd,
Flyers out here.
6 p.m. It'll go to 8 p.m. It'll be presenting all of an aggregate of the ideas and feedback from the community for basically final approval of what the plan will look like before it's presented to the Board of Trustees for final approval, at which point we'll be eligible for funding that otherwise we've never been eligible for in the past. Yay, money. On the
What's the date again,
communication,
Brian?
what's that?
The date again, I'm sorry?
22nd?
6 p.m.
Yep,
Village building, municipal building.
Tuesday, 22nd, 6 p.m.
When are court clerk hours?
Thursday. She's here on Wednesday, just her.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I knew Tuesday was free, I just forgot to, surprise. And then the rare communication front update, I know Ben had dealt with Spectrum when it was Time Warner and whoever they were, whatever day. Technically, their charter, their franchisee agreement expired a while ago, actually, I think April. But they've not been in contact at all, returning things. They sent you info, which is basically, here's the resolution, just go ahead, sign it, pass it. And it's like, well, wait a minute, we can't negotiate on this. It's not and they even wrote the resolution and what to say.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a look through it. For example, the village receives money from Charter Spectrum for operating in the village. It's 3% of their revenue. In addition to all of the lines they string count as a parcel. We received more money last year because they added more cables, so that was more revenue. Right now we get the 3% of revenue. We can request more, and I'd like to explore that. Although sometimes when you request more, they raise everyone's bill to make up for it and send a nasty little note saying your village government raised your rates. So, but I do want to look at, with Andy, getting more than 3% of the revenue.
Sounds good to me.
So it's money for the village.
Sounds good to me.
So I'm thinking like 75. Is that realistic?
That's a reach.
Darn it.
Maybe 4 or 5 more realistic.
Yeah, I was thinking more 5.
I know you've been waiting
Yeah.
for this point to happen.
Yes,
know
I have.
You've been looking
I'm
forward
all
to
about
this. So.
finding us money.
As soon as I got the email, I was like, forward to Brian. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, Bobby.
The only thing I have is that the court audit is scheduled for next Tuesday, the 15th at 6 o'clock with Holly.
Woohoo! You should put that on the calendar as well.
I'll be taking care of that, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ben.
I have a Urswama meeting coming up on Thursday the 10th.
good.
It's an organizational meeting at 6 o'clock in Melrose. The calendars are out, folks should have received them
We have some
already.
extras here if anyone needs them.
And maybe next year we'll put something on page 15 from the
Nope.
mayor. So,
Absolutely. Maybe we'll see.
assuming that you're still around after March.
Awkward pause. Moving on.
I'm assuming, I'm assuming, but you haven't said anything yet. So.
Ben, on the note of county waste,
Yep.
I know after the holiday, not only were garbage bins overflowing for multiple days, but even beyond their normal lag, but they also was a lot of garbage that bins were overfilled
Yeah,
that
they can
ended up
start
on the
anytime.
ground, I mean,
When's that due?
you're the garbage people, so I don't know where we are at with, I mean, Kevin, you probably
Oh, that's
noticed.
the last day.
All I know is they're
Yeah.
a day behind
Okay.
because of the holidays.
And it looked like it ended up
We
being
didn't get ours
two.
picked up until Monday.
Yeah, ours came Sunday or
So-
yeah,
Kevin,
Sunday.
I'm gonna ask
Sunday.
Kevin.
Yeah.
And the holidays
Was it Monday?
gave everybody
Sunday.
I'll do
Yes.
that.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Which I mean, the guy at one point said if their truck's full, they don't come back. They just come another day, which seems a little asinine after a holiday. So I don't know if there's something we can do with.
Plus garbage.
Well, there's garbage blowing around there. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, when you look at River Street, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like blowing down the street.
Yep.
I can only suggest. So, I will.
I suggest we get rid of county waste and look for another
I was politely saying that, but
That's what I
yeah.
suggested.
We could do that. There is a company that is, I think, working with Scotticoke right now, TAM.
Damn, oh yeah,
Tim.
they're in
So,
Maine, yeah.
right,
They've-
so-
They've approached me
I
a
mean,
couple
it's,
times.
and that's something that I can talk to Matt about on Thursday when I see him.
Is that
so.
an Swampert decision that we go with? Or is that our own decision?
I think
that we
that's our
make?
own. I think it's our
When
own,
does
but
that
I'll
come
check
up?
with Matt, I'll check with Matt on Thursday.
What's that?
2 year.
Do you know when that comes up, Mark?
They should be coming up fairly soon, I think.
Because I don't recall ever doing that
I
in
think we
these 2
sent an
years. So
extension this past year, one more year.
That sounds familiar, Kevin.
It was this
Yeah.
summer
I
sometime,
think
I
our
did, I think.
contract was up, and I think the last 2 years we've signed extensions.
that's it.
The-
Okay.
The only issue with TAM is that they provide smaller containers than the current container size we have now. Which,
How
around
much
holiday
smaller?
time might be an issue.
Yeah.
It's considerably smaller.
That's
I can,
interesting.
I'll get the information and, but.
Okay. All right.
Or they could give us 2.
That'll be interesting to
Well,
discuss
yeah,
that.
but
Hey, Kevin.
I'll talk to them on Thursday.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
I'm done now.
Okay.
Yep.
Before you go with yours, election question. I know that we were
Oh,
just
yeah,
talking
that's
about
that
this. Right now, I think is the time where you can start getting petitions if you're going to run for the village board, and I think the petitions are due on the 13th
Of-
of February.
I thought you were gonna say January.
No, no, no. Yeah, they're
Relax.
due Sunday. No.
Can we get 50
Where do we
right
get
here?
the forms from to do?
There's a website.
Is it online somewhere?
Anybody can do their own, they can take it off, the state has a example form on their website, or
Okay.
you just do a search on Google, you can come up with your own.
Or just dig up the one from 2 years ago and change the date, right?
No.
Or the
Well,
board,
the form
or
is
the,
the
Yeah,
original
the-
form,
yeah.
or the Board of Elections would be glad to do it if anybody needs it done.
Okay.
Anybody there?
Do we have a contact there?
Done.
And Kevin, do we need to have petitions, if anyone approaches us, to run besides current members of the board? that are
No,
gonna run?
It's their
It's up to them, I
It's-
mean, they can call the Board of Elections too.
Right.
They have to do
So
their,
they don't necessarily have to have a petition
it's not the
for the
village's,
local,
job.
Oh, you do have to have a petition for local.
for them to run,
Yes, they have to have
Yeah.
at least 75 signatures, right?
as well as the current members that are gonna.
But
that are
anybody who's,
running are
anybody
gonna need
who's
it.
going to
Okay.
run, and they
Yeah.
can name it whatever party, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Whatever they
Yeah.
can call them, whatever they wanna call
Okay.
themselves. But yeah, anybody who's gonna run has to have a petition with their, I mean, it's, right now, this year is gonna be what, Kevin,
What's that?
this year running?
You,
Yeah,
You, me, Brian,
you,
and
the
Ralph.
mayor.
Yeah, so that's 75 between.
then if somebody
four
else
of you.
wants to run that, just form their own party.
Right,
Right.
right.
Right,
Yeah.
And have a symbol.
But any questions about that, I'll direct them to you. Lucky lady. All right. Kevin, do you have anything else for report?
Thank you everyone that took part in the Christmas tree lighting in the village. I don't know if we had a meeting since then, but especially
Sure, we
thanks to Mary Ann's Wigglebauer, who did a lot of work, groundwork on the
Yep.
tree lighting and the tree project.
Yep. All right, great.
And one more thing is permission to use the village streets for St. Patrick's Day on March 16th.
I just wrote the letter today, isn't that funny? I didn't get it for tonight, I just
Were you
wrote
using
it.
the park as well?
We will not,
Just for forming the parade, I believe.
great, yeah.
Oh, it's
Put
not
that-
gonna be in the park this year?
Was that a
We haven't had a meeting yet, so
permission, and do you need a motion for that, or are you making the
We can do
motion
it
for
February
that?
if we have to, right?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Any further discussion on giving permission for the St. Patrick's Day parade in the village on Saturday, March 16th?
Right.
All right, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Carries. Great, thank you. I will inform the pep band director. All right.
Actually, before we move on to that, do you
yeah.
want to just sign some papers for these guys? Because I think we might have some.
A few students here.
Yeah.
A few students here.
And I don't sure they want to sit through the.
Just
next...
just quietly, just pass them up to Vanessa or
Dylan first.
Craig.
Attaboy.
We can
I
sign
like
over
the
here as
glasses.
well.
Very nice. All right, all three
Got all
autographed.
three of you guys?
Okay.
Is that in both places?
There you go.
Both places?
Just sign the signature box or an agenda. Yeah. Whatever they hand
When
you.
they leave, it's gonna echo in here.
Ryan, I was looking to score points for those students.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't have
yeah.
any of these guys. I have middle schoolers.
Kevin,
Wolf.
Wednesday night.
Just sign.
Yeah.
Yes, does that work?
Was this
6
a whole
o'clock.
pile?
Yes.
You're welcome to stay the whole time. It is a riveting meeting, as you guys have seen so far. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
Whose
can
are
tell
they?
there's a lot of
Does it matter?
excitement.
I know as a 16, 18-year-old, there's nothing I would rather have been doing.
I'm staying
But you know what?
You know what they're doing, or?
In January, they sit it in June,
That's true.
when you have to
Was
get
that
Yep.
out.
somebody's
End up-
That's
signature?
mine. Yes, I handed one off.
So,
Wait,
Nate
there's
Miller.
ones with.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Natty, was there like a deadline for end of the second quarter you have to have a meeting in?
Yesterday. I mean, no, today.
Today.
Today is the
But
deadline?
this will count. They all got an extension for. That way they're not here all in June.
Okay, because there's a town meeting on Monday.
Oh, I'm not going to
Yeah,
that.
Sarah, you're
That's
king to ask me.
No, I have all my meetings done
Okay.
after today, so.
I can't remember if they required it like per quarter or a bunch throughout the year.
Yeah, this is new this year because we were getting bombarded at the end of the year.
Yeah, we did.
That they set a deadline now from almost half of their meetings, or the
Okay.
community service stuff can come the rest of the year.
Okay.
So if they missed any, they have now through the end of the year to do that.
Oh, that's great.
It
I was-
also must be that they can attend the same
They
board-
increased the number of meetings.
Oh, okay.
So they can do one of them twice.
Okay.
So double
I
the
know-
pleasure, double the suffering.
I remember that meeting last year where it was practically standing room only because
Yes.
we had over 40 students
Yeah.
in this room.
In
All of a
June.
sudden, in June. Oh,
We
we almost moved outside on that
Not
meeting.
gonna graduate.
Old
they don't
business.
come to the-
Yes,
they don't come to
okay.
the meeting.
All right, so we're moving on to old business. The last time we had discussed signing the letter of intent with SmartWatt. I know we've had a lot of discussions back and forth on email. Bobby, what are your thoughts right now? And I want to commend you guys on doing a great job of sharing thoughts and concerns, and it hasn't been personal
No.
in any way. And it's a complicated issue, so I just wanted to say hats off to you guys.
After, and Brian made a good point in the email conversation, I definitely agree, we wanna make sure that we save the most money and we wanna get the best deal. And if we can get anything out of NYMO, to get them to do what we need to have done, addressed before we buy the equipment from, we'd rather have it upgraded. But, I did reach out to SmartWatt today and let them know that, I forwarded the email that we may not be accepting, the proposal tonight. And they tried, countered with another response saying, and I sent it to everybody, saying that, if we do, we cannot ask for a buyback number again until July of a year from July, because that was when the last one was dated, was July 30th of 2018.
So be basically July of this year.
Yes, July of this year, right.
Yeah.
But then it's gonna take time to get that number.
Correct. And
Was there a dollar amount too that we would owe if we didn't, sign up with them? Wasn't there a $10,000?
That was if we accepted today.
Correct.
And then didn't do it.
And then didn't do it.
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
they've done nothing other than give us an inventory, the inventory, we provided the inventory numbers. All they did was provide the bid, but yes, if we signed a letter of intent, then we'd have to give them
We'd be
obligated $10,000.
And Neil, if we go through with this purchase at some point, do we have the equipment that we would require to change whatever we would need to change if we owned them all?
No,
What would we need?
lots of parts.
Well, not the parts aren't an issue. No, the issue is do we have
Cherry
the means,
picker.
a cherry
Yeah.
picker, the bucket truck.
Yeah, we've got.
We have a bucket truck.
But to even change those lights too, there are some certifications you need to get up with the electrical wires. There are some things like stuff like this we should I think, vet out ahead of making our decision to go with it all the way, so we have all of our
I think,
I
ducks in a
think
row.
too, they said that the light bulbs will last 10,
10 years, they're guaranteed
Yeah.
for 10 years.
Although they said there would be some failures in the first year,
Right.
that's normal. But even beyond that, when we get a decade down the road, are we ready for it? And to make sure we have that plan in place. And just to echo what I had said too, is if we really work hard on getting National Grid to fix underground wiring issues, and to, with the foundations, make sure they're all in I don't wanna say concrete shape, cause that'd be totally a pun,
real
but you
stretch.
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
To make sure they're actually sound, to make sure that the plant that we're buying is in the best shape it can be,
Yeah.
is really important, and they seem to be listening. They were in town the other night again, proactively.
that's good, cause I have 2 in my area I need to get
Are they
replaced.
on now? Check tonight.
Uh,
They fixed
they're
about.
the kind that you roll the dice. There's one that, like, if you clap loud enough, it will come on, and then it will shut off 2 minutes
So they
later.
have to replace the.
Makes no sense to
Yeah,
me.
they have to replace the actual fixture on the one that does that.
I think so. I took, it was nighttime, and I took a picture with a flash of the pole, and all of a sudden it went bing, and lit
So the
up.
light sensor, yeah, it's.
That's weird. But there's another one near me that they'll replace it, and within a week, it's out again. And I don't think it's a bulb thing. I think there's some
The
other
fixture.
issue.
So they were here and they were going through just proactively what was dark to find issues,
That's good.
which is a positive. But I agree too that it's been how many years, Kevin and Bobby, 20, 25 of begging to just fix.
Yeah,
little
well,
things.
just no cooperation to get,
Yeah.
Mark, you probably see the same thing with the town, right? I mean, you guys asking you report streetlights that are out too and wait at their mercy to come repair them,
I
right?
can be, to be honest with you, we have not been as active with the streetlights recently. It was a problem before.
Right, I know it always has been in the town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to maybe do
You do a good
some type
inventory
of
of it.
a drive-by, some night and just go around the entire village and see. I know there's something like 400 and something fixtures,
Mm-hmm.
but,
I don't think it'd be hard for us to pick about 4 or 5 people. I mean, I walk my area, so in one evening, in a 45 minute walk, I can do Albany, Saratoga, Munsell. I can do that end of the village over there.
Are we talking about just the lights being out?
Just streetlights
yeah,
being
streetlights
out.
being out.
But some are also cycling too.
I can have 2 officers go out. Midnight guys is where I usually have them go out, write down the pole number.
Poll numbers.
Perfect.
Street.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd
if
be
you
awesome.
could do that, Bob.
I'd like to see the mayor out there clapping.
It's like that clapper commercial. Well, just heard a couple things too, Chief, too, when they do that, it would be helpful. One thing's National Grid did mention getting the past rule of get reports is village owned lights that are out. Neil, we owned a handful of them in the downtown area, just so the officers know which are actually owned by the village, cause if it's a list of those, National Grid's gonna ignore it. There's also lights that are cycling, it's important for them to notice that on and off, the on and off ones, they're constantly cycling.
Well, what we'll do is we'll go through and every light that's
Or low
on, we'll
voltage,
write down the
low
pole
voltage.
Yeah.
There's another one where it's very faint.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
so just so and also the lights on Route 22 are 125 watts or 150 watts, while all the others are 75 watts roughly. So they're dimmer outside of Route 22. So the Route 22 will be brighter, but just it's important they need to know if it's cycling too. Cycling's
that I
on
might
and
not be
off.
able to tell you. All I'm gonna be
No,
able
the
to do-
officers.
We're gonna be
Right.
way ahead of where we were by doing it.
Right, just let the
Absolutely.
officers
No, no,
get the poll numbers
Yeah.
and then we can
Well,
verify.
you're being
where-
patient with the
lights that
lights.
are out.
Right,
People who are walking will get the cycling one because it cycles throughout
Correct,
the
but
walk.
one of the things in the reports they are getting in the past are not noting that it's cycling or it's one that's noted as out, they go to fix it, it's on, it's wasting their time.
So,
We need-
okay.
So I'm saying if the officers are noting it's out, please make sure to note it's not just cycling, cause that's different
Out
than
or dim or cycling need to be
Yes.
the 3 specific
you ever see
distinctions.
National Grid work, they got a lot of free time. They're usually in a bar room or a restaurant for a good couple hours. They got a lot of free time.
All right.
Alright.
So, what is our decision with Smart Wire? Are we tabling this and buckling down on getting infrastructure fixes before we do this?
I think in my mind, the worst part is the underground structure that is the biggest worry. That would probably cost the village a lot of money if we had to upgrade that after the fact.
Okay.
Especially the lights that we have here on Main Street and some of the ones that go into the park have had issues and haven't been rectified after numerous complaints over the past 10 years.
Okay.
And oddly enough, Verizon was out here working on underground telephone lines last week, and the light that's had some of the electrical issues has been lit since. So I don't know if they bumped something or they have a water issue they resolved that partially helped that, but by some weird coincidence, Verizon fixed that one.
That's good.
Well, I'll make the motion that we not sign the letter of intent with Smart Water at this time.
Okay.
But I would like to stress the fact that we actively pursue this.
We gotta do it.
And stay on top of National Grid to get the repairs made, so that we can do this, when July comes around, we can request that again.
Okay.
So that we get, I mean, cause we're leaving like $60,000 on the table by waiting, and that's concerns me. I mean, if we can be saving $60,000 of taxpayers' money,
That's,
we should be moving forward.
yep,
I'm willing to go to the Public Service Department because I have a chain of emails that I've kept over the years of the same lights that haven't been addressed by them, so.
That's great.
If we have to, I can take it to them.
Kim, can I get together with you on that? And,
Sure.
Okay.
good. Neil, I do wanna have a conversation with you about if we do this, what is it gonna mean for you guys? And what do you need? I figured that was part of it.
It's gonna cost us some money.
3 new trucks, right, that's what it's gonna need?
What'd you say it's gonna cost us
It's
money?
gonna cost you.
But
It's
it's
gonna
gonna cost us money, but the money is calculated into the project.
Yeah. And
There's a maintenance fee calculated in there, but that's our money, not their money. So we can do what we want with the money. So if we wanna buy you a new truck after a couple of years, we can buy you a new truck.
we have you a new truck, right?
Wait a couple of years.
Alright, alright, so,
First.
motion has been made, to table this.
Second.
And to get our butts in gear on following up on this. Ben is a second. Any further discussion?
I'll reach out to Smart Watt tomorrow and let them help,
Alright,
okay?
thank them for their patience with us too. Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, alright.
And Bobby, thank you for all your time
Oh,
you've put into this. I know it's been a lot.
Yep,
it's fine.
yep.
So I
Chief,
get paid the big bucks
who
for it.
is the Center for Security guy? What's his name? Whoever that is, let's set up a time for him to come and talk with the two of us.
The only thing I wanna change on this is that we wrote, for use of interrogation, I wanna refer to that as interview.
Okay,
Interrogation gets us hung up on some legal issues that I don't wanna.
Sounds a little like you're waterboarding?
Interrogation means that they can't leave, interview means they can.
there's a reason why we're getting all these arrests right now.
Yes. So
See down
I wanna
cellar.
make sure that we're-
Andy, is it possible that we could, I don't know if we can approve it without knowing exactly
The
what
issue
we're.
there is really not a major issue, it's hung up on the interview room that hasn't been built yet, because we were waiting for, our, community service people.
Which room is gonna be the interview room?
It's one of the old cell rooms that we're just gonna be creating a wall.
Okay,
And we just have to wire it into it. And the reason being is because, to be on the safe side, when we're doing interviews, it's better for the case. And two, legally, we're going to be told that we have to do those from now on
yeah,
in a audio type thing.
yeah,
So we need to be prepared for it. And the only other time that it would come into question would be when we're doing where the breathalyzer is, where we're processing a DWI arrest. It's always good to have the conversation that's going on as well. So those two little things are what it's not a major, I don't wanna use the word not a major problem, but I think it's easy to approve, the money's there.
Yeah.
And just giving them the okay to come on up after we talk a little bit further with them on it, but at least get that part of it in play.
so we just have a couple of changes we have to make, like in terms of that camera.
This one has gotta come out, even though we talked about turn off, turn on, only because the courts are gonna, it's just gonna create a problem if a defense attorney's here and he sees that, he
Yep.
can put us through a lot of hoops to try
Yep.
to say that it isn't working, and bring people in that shouldn't be brought in to testify.
Yep.
So the ones in questions here in the hallway, they're easy to argue away, and the ones in the station, they're monitored, so that's not a problem with that. So this is
Alright.
the only one that has to be.
Okay,
And the cost of that is, as I said, I think was 500 or 800.
I think it was 500 and something
Yeah,
dollars.
500
it
and
wasn't
something.
a lot to approve,
yeah,
but it's something where, and I see it in this case, this trial that we're in right now, I mean, it's a major, it's very valuable that we have that voice.
Yeah.
It kind of moved the trial.
I'd like to talk to whoever that guy's name is again.
Scott.
Scott, okay, thank you. About setting up some sort of standalone system that's super easy. So that, I mean, we could train an officer for 15 minutes and then they know how to do everything they need to, from recording it, saving it, exporting it, all that stuff.
Yes.
Because tying into that system, I don't think is the way to go, because that's complicated. There's a lot of stuff with that one.
The system that he's put in?
Yeah.
No, I think that it's not as complicated as,
Well, the problem with the system that he puts in is it has a limited amount of space, so once a certain amount of time goes by and it fills up with hard drive, it starts deleting days. I'd
well,
rather...
The thing there is that if there's a case that we know of now, and I'm not speaking for in here,
Right.
the case that we know of, so a DWIRS that's made tonight, we would print that off immediately and
Okay.
present it to the DA's office as the evidence is being presented as
Okay.
a package. If there's an interview being done, whatever that may be, at the completion of that interview, it would be burned, or whatever word we wanna use, immediately and be
Okay.
put into the case file, because what happens is that we're gonna be asked quickly by the DA's office and by the defense attorney for access to that.
Yeah.
And for us to say, yeah, well, you know, it's easier to do it right then and there. You
Right.
print it off, stamp it, boom, and it's in the case file, and it's moved on to the DA's office.
Okay.
The defense attorney can't request it unless they go through the DA's office. And if the DA's office already has it, it's done, finished, and it's out of our way.
Alright. We'll get him here and we'll talk through this and
I'll
come up
talk
with a
to
good
you.
solution. We'll get this figured out for the February meeting.
We're not gonna approve
Uh,
it now.
Is the one... let me find the...
It's like,
I have it in the office.
it's like $800.
That was less than that, I
It was
think.
five.
It
It
was
was
5
500.
something.
Yeah. And I-
Can't we approve it
Up to?
pending on the, you know, the, after your meeting with them, Rob, and so we can get it done?
That's what I was gonna ask Andy.
Because if he comes in, we'll say next week, and says, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
and then we're
Not
good.
to exceed a certain dollar amount, and that way we're
That's the way to
covered?
do it.
I can go in the office and grab it, because I know it's
Well,
over there.
why can't we why don't we just say not to exceed $1,000, and that way we're covered
We're
if
covered.
anywhere.
Is that right?
That's all right.
Is that
Okay,
okay?
so what would we need? A motion to approve
Motion to approve,
Center for Security to
Correct.
modify the existing system not exceeding $1,000.
in an amount not to exceed $1,000. Yep.
Okay,
Okay, I'll make that motion.
so moved by Bobby,
Second.
second by Ben, because he's louder.
And the only other thing on that, Bob and Andy and Rob, is that, do you have to specify that comes out of the,
What
The-
fund it comes out of,
Fund.
the drug,
Fund.
the drug money?
Fund. drug fund money?
We can certainly add that if it's
Right.
coming from
Sure.
that. Yep.
Alright, we'll add that to the motion then.
Okay, yes,
So all funds coming from the
the drug fund money.
drug fund money, thank you.
That way, we don't have to come back later on.
Yes,
Right.
thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, that way you're all set then, Bob?
Yep, that's
All
all
right.
set, we're ready to go.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Any
we
further
vote?
discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, great. Great. Alright, new business, and I do have, an extra item to bring up, but I'll do that shortly. The first thing is the grant administrative services with Barton LaJudas. Do you have a copy of that? Okay, I brought that out. I emailed this to you, I don't remember if we printed out copies for you.
I didn't print every
Have you
day.
seen this yet?
I have.
Okay. This is the standard one we do each year, for administrative, support and assistance that will take us ideally through most of 2019. As we're, done with the funds we set aside in 2018. $7,500. This goes for various things. I think it's more specific to the Greenway grants.
Okay.
And a few other things related to that.
Also, Jim said we're
We're good?
good.
Awesome. Tell him he is the bomb.
I'll rephrase that.
And the that's fine. And the money will be coming out of the economic development funds, small cities checking account. So I'm looking for a motion to authorize.
Motion.
Second.
Brian and Vanessa, thank you. Any further discussion or questions on this?
And say I'm very grateful, and I'm sure office staff is as well, that Barton LaJudas is taking care of this, because
Oh,
it is
yes.
a lot
It's
to
gonna take a lot off
oversee.
of Denise,
Yes.
there's no doubt
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
They're fantastic.
Yes, they are. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, great, thank you. We discussed this a while back in terms of the sewer project and looking over the bids for the pipeline. The recommendation is not to move on these now. I was glad to see that MRB said that the references checked out to the lowest bidder, and they're very, very happy to have them on board and ready to do that. Timing wise, we can put this off a month and still fall within the 40 whatever day bid period it is to accept it.
The bid period, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that will give us time to work on the permit. Do you guys have any other questions on this?
So we're gonna go with Peter Louisian Brothers Contracting, is that correct?
Once we officially approve it, but we wanna
Right.
get the permit.
Right, but that's the plan, they're
That's the lowest
bidder,
bidder,
correct?
yeah.
And you
This
said,
it's more of a theoretical, if for any reason Army Corps or DEC comes back and says, you gotta modify the project a little bit before we'll issue the permit, that could change.
Yeah.
So before it's actually awarded.
no sense in awarding it until we
Yeah,
have
right.
that information, correct?
And DEC has already said they're good, they're just waiting
Right.
for Army Corps to say they're good.
And we have MRB is okay with this?
Yep,
as
MRB is
well?
very happy with
Okay,
them.
alright.
So do we have to get the okay from the Army Corps by the end of the 40 days, so by our next meeting, do we need to have their approval?
Yes, we
Yes.
do, which is why I get to start calling them on a regular basis.
Okay,
Yeah.
till they give an answer.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And the department is contacting them routinely as well.
I hope they're
DEC.
not affected by the federal shutdown. Okay.
You'd be surprised which ones are.
I was, but it was nice to see that they MRB had sort of said 2.68 was sort of the goal, where it would be if we went higher than that, we wouldn't be breaking even anymore, and we came under that by
2.5.
over 100,000, which is really good to see. It's really good to see. So now we're hoping that the next bid also does the same thing, which brings us to the next item. Oh, I'm looking for a motion to table awarding the bid results. Thank you, Craig.
Second.
Bobby, Craig, you were louder that time. Any further discussion on that?
barely heard you.
Just so you know.
I could hear him.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay, we have a motion to advertise bids for contract 2 of the sanitary sewer projects. I know I have that in here somewhere. It's the same advertising that we want to do as last time, which included Times Union, Bennington Banner, Post-Star,
Berkshire Eagle.
Berkshire Eagle, plus Eastwick, plus
Eastwick,
Eagle.
Plus Eagle, you got it.
Is that everything?
Yes.
Sweet. Good. So that's pretty much standard fare. The bid opening for contract 2 is February 11th. That's the day before our next meeting. So that means that at the next meeting we should have a ballpark number for what it's going to be. Also at the next meeting we should hopefully be approving the first bid. I don't know if we'll be approving the second bid at that point. I don't think we necessarily will need to, because we can wait until the March meeting. Depends on what MRB says. And we're having the time with EFC to work all that stuff out.
We do, and then there's the issue of the bond resolution.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look at what numbers come in on the second round of bidding to determine
'Cause
what
we're
needs
at
to be done.
The original bond resolution was basically ended up being too low
Too low.
for what it was going to be. So we need to go
So we're
back
gonna have to
through
go
the
back into the
process.
public hearing and.
Yep.
It will be another an amended bond resolution. That would be subject to permissive referendum
Right.
on notice.
Okay.
And wait the 30 days and see if anyone files enough petitions to hold a referendum. And then the estoppel period published in the newspaper, so it'll take a little while.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Okay.
But timing wise, we're good with how everything else lays out.
But that won't impact phase 1.
it will not
That's
because
under the
phase,
bond amount.
that's
so we're
correct.
Correct.
looking
That's the way
forward
it was
with
set
that.
up. You can award
Correct.
for phase 1, but not phase 2 until we know what the number is.
All right. So I'm looking for that motion to advertise bids for contract 2.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Brian. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. I do have one I want to bring up with permission of the board. I got this about an hour and a half, hour before the meeting. This is a proposal for professional services. Have you seen this yet? For the highway garage? Here's one for you. This would, back when we did the highway garage, the backstory is we put it out for bid. It came back way higher than the 1.1 million grant that we had. We went back to the drawing board, made a lot of structural changes. Neil has given layers upon layers upon layers of comments to make this process work. What they are proposing for the costs of this sort of stage that we've been in, the pre-design phases would be $2,500. Schematic and design phases is $9,000. These are all engineering costs. Construction documentation would be $12,500. The bidding charge they are lifting. They are not going to charge us the standard whatever $5,000, $7,500, or $10,000 is to put it out for bid, put all those documents together, come up and do the bidding. That was sort of their way of saying we want to make sure that we know that they're in this to provide the right situation for the village, which means the additional services would be $24,000. And I brought out somewhere in my list here, not that one. This is the one. This was what the overall cost, the opinion of cost was for the new setup for this. Basically, the new cost, including the soft costs, which are engineering, survey, structural, geotech, seeker, all that stuff, bond, legal fees, their estimate is now 1.119. So, including the 10% contingency, they're thinking that this cost is going to be $19,000 over the $1.1 million grants. And that's assuming everything is full cost and the 10% contingency is used. Neil has looked over. You guys can take a look at that quickly, then we'll pass it down. Neil read through that in his fully awakened state and thought it was all right. Andy, does that look fine to you?
Mm-hmm. It does. Standard.
Okay, it's exactly like the one they had before.
Are you still going with the propane over the fuel, Neil? I see that's still in here.
That's up for discussion. So
Oh, okay.
that's gonna be pretty much a alternate thing anyway, so.
What the propane is.
I know a lot has changed structurally, Neil, with that, and I think once we approve this, then it will be, they'll develop the final blueprints. We put it out for bid probably next meeting, Neil? Would we put it out for bid?
I'm hoping so, 'cause I'll be getting more.
So hopefully, assuming we approve this tonight, they get going on that, we can put it out for bid next meeting, bid opening in early March or mid-March. And then we're moving on to something else. Any other questions on this?
Does this new garage come with a new truck?
Maybe.
I'm trying to do it like the Price is
So
Right
this
for you
is
here.
totally new garage, not
Totally new
not
garage.
Yeah.
renovating.
In the same location. This is
Okay.
a totally new garage. Same location.
Well,
A little
just
bit-
down one, right?
Well, yeah, the location that they had cleared out.
Right.
It'll probably be 7 or 9 Waterworks Road.
There'll be what?
7 or
7
9.
or 9
Yeah.
Waterworks Road. Instead of 11.
Just go 7-9. Do both.
No,
Or you saying that's the number of trucks you need?
7 to 9 trucks.
7 to 9?
just remember the budget's coming up.
Hey, just remember who's advocating for you here. Right?
Let's
He
try.
needs 7 or 9 trucks. Put it in there.
So,
Make it happen.
if you guys, alright, I'll sure we'll add that in. Okay, that'll be easy. If you guys are good with this, I'm looking for a motion authorizing the mayor to sign the proposal for professional services with MRB for the new highway garage.
Motion.
Thank you,
Second.
Craig. Thank you, Bobby. Any further discussion? Neil, good? Thumbs up. Depending on the amount of trucks comes with it. Okay. Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Neil's middle of the road.
Great,
He's on
thank
the
you.
level.
Neil's half asleep. That's totally
Can we
fine.
let Neil go?
Neil, do you wanna go? Alright. Two quick, weird, or not weird, just sort of different kinds of requests on a couple things. The first one is which one is this one here?
The water in 204.
Okay, the water on 204 Main
Is
Street.
that the former Weebs?
It is.
Okay.
Okay, I think I sent this to you guys in email.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had some interesting conversations with both Jim and Denise on this, and even Andy on this as well. We have the ability to do whatever we want. I included the 3 basically the past three bills. The previous two were 256.22 and 221.36 to sort of figure out an average, and then this one was 937.97. I think my recent email that I sent to you guys included his sort of quick answers to my latest questions.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on this, or do you want to hear what some of our employees' thoughts were on this?
What was
First.
the leak? Was it in the road or in the?
No, it was in the basement, or that was where the fix was. At least it was in the basement.
Now, was that a commercial account? Oh, sorry, Bob.
No, I'd like to hear what our
Yeah.
employees have to say.
Basically, refunding all of it is it's a slippery slope, I think would be a good way to summarize that. If you refund all of it, you're setting a precedent for anyone who says they had a leak and they all want all of that refunded. I checked with them to see if there's any other water usage since then. There hasn't been. I think in one mention they said they had been checking daily, but then I don't know why the leak was so big or so long. I don't know. Some of the options that they thought would make sense would be to find the difference between the average of bills, we'll call it 250, and this, which was like 930, so that, or 940. Let's say the difference would be 700 then, and either do a third of that or a half of that. Those were some of the thoughts that they had thrown out there. Neil, Judy, Marie, did you guys want to add anything else? Mark,
I'm sorry.
anything else you guys want to add to that?
No, it's just, you know, it's a tough situation. There's no verification of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just like, so was this a leak inside the building where there was water damage, or was this like a valve was, yeah, I
It was a
saw
valve,
the,
yeah.
You replaced that, it was just.
yeah, I see that, but did all that water actually leak into the building, or did it just leak
Where did
down
it
the
leak?
drain?
Where did it leak to? Right.
I don't know.
Right, I mean,
The
if
only
somebody had a
time-
leaky toilet for a month,
I think it
we're
leaked
not gonna refund them because they had a leaky toilet.
Right, it's their fault.
around, yeah.
So if this was just I mean, obviously the bill shows that it was something dramatic differently
Mhm.
happened, but it could have been somebody left the tap running for a month.
Well, and the other thing is, how can you not notice that it's?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is if it was running down the drain.
I don't think anybody's been in the property for.
Nobody's been in there on a regular basis anyway.
I mean that's what the email said. He purchased it in November of 2017, and it's been unoccupied since.
I can't, I mean, I'm just looking at what's pointing the picture too, was that there's no obvious major water damage.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what
say,
I'm
is if the
kinda-
water, if it was the valve on your sink that was leaking and it was
Yeah.
going down the drain for a month, there wouldn't be any damage.
The only thing that we can verify is when our guys went in. I think when it was fixed to verify it. That's all we can verify.
So he
That's-
fixed it before they went in there.
Yes. He fixed it back in September, and the guys were in sometime in December, just to look at it.
Well, I mean, in the term, you know, you mentioned slippery slope. Yeah, this is a beyond where we offer service and beyond the responsibility of the village. I think it probably sets a precedence of do it for one, do it for everybody. Where maybe this is one we politely say sorry, can't help.
I mean, that's totally within our realm of what we can do.
Or at the very least, is this is a commercial account?
Is it commercial?
I would
If
assume.
it's weeds, it's gotta be commercial property.
Do we have any way to know if it's a commercial on the bill?
So if the only thing I would offer is if it's a commercial account, that we charge him the same number of gallons, but as a residential, to offer him some sort of relief, but still not forgive the whole thing.
What's the difference between
He was
residential?
gonna be doing something.
Yeah.
Like with a restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, and a bar type
and there was
of
something
thing.
with the grandfather of it being commercial too, wasn't there, Mark? Yeah.
But that never materialized.
It wasn't him, but I don't know if his wife or girlfriend or a woman he's some relationship with came to
His
his sister. Okay, not.
She's watching the property.
Yeah,
for
she
him.
came to a
He's in
Hoosick
Florida or
Rising
something.
meeting and it said, had asked me if the village had money to put a new roof on it, or he wasn't gonna do anything with it until he got a new roof, and that was and that was more than a year ago. And that was my only contact there. that it needed a new roof and that he couldn't afford it, so.
For
Or
simplicity's
general funds.
sake, if we
Right.
call the average of the two bills about 240, which it I bet is, and this is about 940, so there's a difference of $700 in terms of the extra water and sewer costs. So what are your thoughts on what we do? Do nothing and say sorry, no thanks. Give them a couple hundred, give them a third, give them a half. How do you guys want to do it?
I think we have done this for other people.
But how much?
When you were saying the bill, we wanna just look at the water usage portion of the bill.
The usage in the previous two were 6,000 gallons and 3,000 gallons. And this one was 63,000 gallons.
And clearly something went wrong, I mean, it's not like somebody was.
And we
making money
confirmed
off
the
of
meter is accurate,
From
correct?
1757.
Yes.
How much,
Water
they,
only.
even
Oh, yeah.
like we said, did it go down to,
The water
floor drain,
usage
the
was
sewage
up
system?
about $355. And the same thing for the sewer.
Right, cause all the
A
reasons.
little, yeah, a little bit more.
Or was the building unheated and a pipe burst somewhere else and we're getting,
We have no idea.
yeah, that's what I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, how much of it is neglect on their part? I
Right.
mean, that's the,
Any words of advice?
If you're gonna do any adjustment, you better make sure you have good proof, because I do think that advice is warranted, that if you do it here,
You're
with
setting
what you have in
precedent.
front of you,
Yep.
you can expect,
a lot of people
Many
not
more
gonna,
coming.
a lot more coming, I know, that's what I'm afraid.
and this is not to say you won't do anything. But one thing to consider is to say, we understand your position, but we haven't seen any verifiable proof of what occurred, and give them an opportunity, give the property owner an opportunity to give you
Yeah.
whatever more they may have. Don't deny, don't grant tonight, say, give us something that we can look to, because this is significant, and table it for another month.
Did they give us a repair bill or anything? for that?
He did it
He did it
himself.
He
himself.
said he did it
course.
himself and he didn't have any receipts.
And he lives in Florida.
If the water's, well, I guess the other thing too is if the building's unoccupied, what reason would there be for the water to be turned on in the first
It
place?
wasn't. It
Beyond
was
the valve?
on?
There was a person throughout the summer until late fall that was running the place.
I thought that part of it was residential in the back.
She
that it
noticed
was
the-
temporary, right?
It was an
That's-
apartment in the
There's,
front.
there's an apartment, right,
Yeah.
you're right.
Okay, so it had reason to be on. So again, there was a tenant in there. When did that tenant leave? And is this? Yeah, I don't
That
think.
tenant left, at the time of the sale.
Okay, so
November,
it's actually been.
And that apartment was not grandfathered
No,
into the
the
sale?
apartment was not grandfathered in, it cannot be an apartment.
Yeah, that was
So-
a temporary thing the board before we were around.
There was some water usage, and I think the back part, the large, garage type storage part, I think a relative was using that, because Kevin, you know, you saw like there was, they did concrete work, there was like concrete, there was mixers, there was some different things
Yeah.
parked out in the parking lot.
During this time?
Up until probably late fall.
Yeah,
The
so.
concrete definitely uses water. To
Well,
mix.
and I don't know what they were doing in there, but, you know, but the hard part, like I said before, is there's just no, a lot of times we get calls of it, you know, breaks and stuff like, so we can verify things.
Right.
We have no idea.
So why don't we table it for a month, contact them, look, request more information, come up with an answer. We
If
don't
they can
need
give
to
us
wait more than
justifiable
that,
reason
right?
to show
Yeah.
proof that they, you know, that they were not at fault and that,
Okay.
that's fine, we'll discuss it next month. I don't think, I'm not in favor of just waiving any percentage without more justification.
It's interesting you mentioned that that there was some concrete work possibly going on there, because he definitely said there's been no usage there.
Well, I think they used it for more or less storage than probably
Okay.
anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of.
None of that's really relevant to what.
But we have to have
Right.
something
So-
more specific and tangible.
Table, we need more information.
Alright, so looking for a motion to table this,
Motion.
Second.
and then gather more information. Bobby and Ben, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries? Have to bug me this week to get to follow up with
Put the
that.
ball in their court, right?
Yep. Yep. And the last one is another strange, peculiar request, which we got a while back. So this individual works for County Waste.
Oh, this again?
I think it's the same one.
It is.
So we never actually decided anything on it. Doesn't utilize the village trash service because their regular pickup is on Friday, but this resident's pickup who works for County Waste is Thursday, and it's done by a different truck that services County Waste subscription customers that are not village residents in Hoosick Falls. If that makes sense.
It doesn't.
Well, it does.
So
Where do they live?
there's
Next to
well,
me.
this truck does this.
It does like town clients basically.
Yeah, it does town clients and also does the County Waste employees as well.
That is my neighbor, and that is a fact. It's a different truck that picks up his garbage than
Than
picks
yours.
up ours. Yeah.
But he's, that, not because we schedule it that way, because he
No,
chooses
because
to
one of the
do
perks
that.
of the company working for them, they get free trash pickup.
Just a question:
But-
if a house is, maybe Mark, if a house is
That's
vacant,
why I understood it too. They want an unbilled because they get
Because
it
they get-
free.
right?
Yeah.
If a house is
Yeah.
vacant, do we still charge the garbage fee? Because if the water, even if their water's shut off, it's still connected. They pay the bond.
Well, yeah, we have those charges
Like-
on his
Yeah,
end.
yeah, the recycling fee's on there, on the bill
Right.
regardless.
So
Whether it's
regardless,
vacant or not.
right? I guess I would look at it that way. Then is I great you work there and that's a perk, but
Move out of the village.
yeah. Do you like this neighbor, Kevin?
I do.
Okay, don't move out of the village.
So, I mean, I guess,
Always better than the
did
guy
he
you had before.
actually submit a request, like, what is he actually requesting?
That the bill for refuse is taken off their regular billing.
I don't think it came from.
$44.
I don't think it came from him. I think it came directly from the company itself that made the request.
That was my next question.
Have we ever done that? Do we have any bills where we don't bill people for refuse?
Yes, going back to what you had suggested, there are times when people, if the house has been, abandoned, something like that.
Alright. Oz, wheel out here a little.
So,
There you are, Mark. I'm just kidding.
so if that's the case, if there's houses that we don't charge for that are vacant, I mean, it's kinda hard to deny this guy if he's not looking, he's just looking to not pay for something, a service he's not getting, that he's not
Well,
utilizing.
Yeah, so why don't we figure that out? Is there actually people that we're currently not charging? Not speculate, let's go find out the answer, right?
Do we know that there are people that we're not
I'm
charging?
not gonna go that far.
So let's,
You wanna check?
right,
Yeah,
let's
I definitely
table
wanna
this while we
check.
figure
Okay.
out, are there
Yeah.
currently
I'll bet,
people?
114
What's that?
Church Street's
I
not
would
getting
say there are
charged.
definitely people who are not charging.
114
She says
church?
the word. She could say there are definitely people we're
Well,
not
so
charging.
why
but-
aren't we then?
But we could, yeah.
I think it opens up a
Look at
can of
that.
worms too, is these people, there's been a number of requests lately for people to use their own dumpsters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
have
a
to do
big one.
anything on this
Yeah.
tonight.
And
Let's-
actually-
Let's take our time and ask the questions,
Yeah.
right? Who
Just-
aren't we charging and why?
Okay.
Just to add that though, and Andy, to make sure again, if we do this, so what if I decide I'm sick of county waste, I'm gonna hire Tam to come to my house,
Right,
and then I'm gonna come to the board and say,
Yep.
well, I'm
I
paying
wanna take
somebody
this off.
yeah.
to take it off, I
It
think
may
this
not
could
be a
turn
perk of my
into,
employment, but I'm
Right.
choosing
Yeah,
to pay
go for
another
it.
company.
I throw my garbage in the dumpster.
You know
at work.
what?
I don't
Let
want
the
to be
company
charged.
give them the $46.
yeah, I
Right.
know it's in one, they just,
Yeah,
yeah,
so let's, we can,
$46 for the garbage pickup, let the company give them
Company should credit them
$46.
back because they have to pay through the village.
Right.
well,
Not that bad.
so we can not do anything.
Yeah, cause this did come from wasteconnections.com, wasn't from, it's not from him.
So I haven't
Is,
even seen that yet, so.
Is this him?
What's his name, Mark?
What's that?
Is that his name?
No.
So,
I think this may have been sent at the request of the.
But yeah, I agree with what Craig said, let's look and see if we
Yeah.
have any other cases like this.
I don't think it's
But
his.
I like Mark's
Oh,
idea
it
even
is.
better, because why should we not get the money we have, we're setting
Yeah.
precedent if we do.
Yes.
but we're also opening where people could challenge with their own, or, yeah.
Right,
This could
because
turn into,
if the company's paying for his waste removal, let them pay us the $46. Let him get reimbursed twice a year, or whatever it is, I say 46, that's what this one was, whatever the
Yeah.
amount is. Whenever he gets it 3 times a year, let them reimburse him.
Is that a one family, Kev?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that certainly would be the easiest thing. Is to basically just say we can't change the policy because it would have too many ramifications. We're asking you to simply reimburse the employee. Done. So, I guess, do I need a motion for that? Okay,
No,
done.
you're
We
not
will,
changing, you're not changing.
we will do it that way. That's another thing you have to yell at me about this week to get done. Unless you guys have any other business, I'm looking
I
for a
do wanna
motion.
just make sure the record, earlier on the Barton and Lejudas grant administration.
Yeah.
Looking at this thing, it's for the remainder of 2018 and for all of 2019. I think you said earlier, part of 2019. It just
No,
makes
it's all-
sure
yeah,
the
it's all.
motion is for the remainder, whatever they did, the remainder of 2018 and for the full year of 2019.
What was that, I'm sorry?
This was the Barton and the Judas grant ones on the next
Oh,
page.
yeah.
It's for all of 2019, not what I said.
Yes.
It's for a little bit of end of 2018, and 2019.
And all of 2019.
Yeah, okay. In that case, I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session for purpose of discussing pending litigation. Ben? Second. Craig, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are entering executive session at 7:45 PM. Thank you.